It's been a minute since we've gotten to talk about 2024 Auburn football recruiting. We've got a brand new wide receiver commit. Let's talk about who that is and what it means for Hugh Freeze and Auburn football. War Eagle, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Kyle here at E2C Network, where we share the whole Auburn experience. As you're watching or listening today about this particular topic, be sure to drop a comment down below. We'd love to hear your thoughts about what we're discussing here as we share ours. We always want to take an opportunity to remind you of our friends at Alumni Hall, and it's always a good time to shop there in store or online. You can visit the link in the very top of our description, that first link available to you there. But if you are watching this just before Father's Day, keep in mind that we've got an exclusive code for 20% off that you can take advantage of up until Father's Day. Make sure you don't miss out on that opportunity for some great Auburn apparel and other items that you can buy at alumnihall.com or in stores in Opelika, Auburn, and in Huntsville. It seems like we can finally put the transfer portal for 2023 in the rearview mirror and now solely focus on high school recruiting for 2024, at least for some time. We're going to start right here today with your very first commitment of the summer, effectively. A wide receiver, Bryce Cain, has committed to the Auburn Tigers. Auburn had to fight off several other contenders for him. Most notably, Ole Miss was who was thought to be his favorite at one point. As always, let's start with the timeline of events that brought us to the point of his commitment today. And we'll start back in April when he first started getting attention from Auburn amongst many others, and his interest was growing amongst major programs during that time. April 1st, Auburn officially offered him, and he was even on an official visit around that time too. In fact, he took another official visit this past weekend for a camp at Auburn. Now, I know that's kind of like, well, he was coming anyway, but still, he was here for an unofficial visit. During that time, he loved what he saw and completely flipped the script, with most people thinking he was going to go to Ole Miss, and decided to commit to Auburn while he was on campus. Now that you know how he got here, let's mention some facts about Bryce Cain, things that you might be interested in knowing about him. Most major sites have him listed as a 3-star prospect from Baker High School in the Mobile, Alabama area. His measurables are listed at 5'11", 170 pounds, which puts him roughly in a smaller wide receiver category, and most people would consider him to be what's called a slot wide receiver. But don't let those shorter measurables dictate your thoughts about him, because this guy's got a lot of speed, agility, and versatility that he's bringing to the table, and hopefully he'll be utilizing that at Auburn. It brings a certain player to mind. Maybe this is just a bit of a stretch, but Anthony Schwartz was someone who popped in my mind right away when comparing it to something you might be familiar with. Now, a few stats about Bryce Cain so that you know a little bit more about what type of player is coming to Auburn. A very athletic guy, plays football obviously, but he even plays baseball too, that we can tell from his personal Instagram account. His stats for football that you might be interested in knowing: last season in 2022, he got around 26 receptions for almost 500 yards, which got him 5 touchdowns and a 19.1 yards per catch percentage. That's very, very impressive. He's even known to be able to run the ball and bust off a big run or two, and even does kick returns too. So not only is he bringing great skills as a wide receiver, but as a utility player as well. A few storylines around the commitment of Bryce Cain. For me, the big word here is momentum. What it could represent for Auburn the rest of the summer and leading into the fall. But specifically at the wide receiver position, there's a few other targets out there that we're kind of waiting on decisions for, and maybe this will help encourage them to quicken up their decision just a little bit and decide to commit to Auburn. I also want to give a shout out to Walker White, who's been doing such a good job recruiting as a commit in this class as well. He's been doing a great job, and this is one of those players that I think he had a hand in encouraging to make a decision. Now that you know about the player Bryce Cain, let's talk about what his commitment means for Auburn football, and we'll specifically start with the numbers for this class, the 2024 class. It now brings us to 6 total commitments, all high school commitments in this 2024 class. 4 of those are now on the offensive side of the ball, and he will be the first wide receiver of this class but likely not the only one. Now let's talk about what his playing opportunities might be when he arrives here on campus. Always encourage you to consider freshmen coming in to redshirt so you're not disappointed if they don't play right away. But with wide receivers being used a lot, especially in special teams, and him having some successful special teams experience, you might see him out on the field even earlier. Now, when you look at the depth chart, you've got a very, very big group of seniors that could be leaving. Who knows if they have a COVID year, and some juniors as well, depending on how their season goes, they may transfer out. So it feels like there's going to be a lot of room for young guys to come in and find some playing time in the 2024 season. And we still don't know what's going on with DeQuavius Story. Reportedly, he may not still be part of the team or the commit class. Don't really have the information on that, so I'm just speculating at this point. So really feels like there is some opportunity, but probably not as much as we think right now. I always like to talk about where they come from in terms of the recruiting process, creating pipelines, and this is the fourth one from the state of Alabama, which we are already showing in this class to make a high priority. Even more so within that discussion, going into the Mobile area. It is a traditional Alabama stronghold where they just go in there and take whoever they want traditionally. Auburn going in there with Hugh Freeze and having success already is a really good sign. And finally, what does this commitment mean for the 2024 class, even specifically at the wide receiver position? We're still early in the game, so there's going to be plenty more commitments in general to come, but I also feel like we can confidently say there will be several other wide receivers joining this class, whether it's because of things opening up in the depth chart or just some high value targets out there that everybody's watching for. I feel like we're going to see a few more before this is all said and done. There you have it, my thoughts on the brand new commitment for the Auburn Tigers, Bryce Cain. Would love to know your thoughts down there in the comments section below. Be sure to do that because you'll be entered into that subscriber giveaway we'll be doing when we get to 4,000 subscribers. Also, make sure you're subscribed because that's part of the process too. And as always, check out those links in the description for ways that you can help support Alumni Hall and us here at E2C Network, where we share the whole Auburn experience. War Eagle.